What is up? What is up? What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, what a wild free agency period that we have had. It's been bonkers. It has been crazy, crazy, crazy times in the WNBA in terms of different trades, different surprise signings, and a whole bunch of stuff. And it is finally February the 1st when stuff is started to actually be signed by players. And so yeah, let's get into what we have here. We have some breaking news, everybody. Breaking news, and this involves two teams. We have a two-team trade between the Connecticut Sun and the Dallas Wings, two teams that have already made a good amount of moves already in this free agency, and they not stopping. Okay, here is the trade that just came through the wire. I literally woke up, opened up Twitter, and I was like, whoa, that's a massive trade. I gotta hop on here and talk about it, okay? As of today, February 1st, we have a trade where the Connecticut Sun is shipping off DiJonai Carrington, the number 12 pick in the 2025 draft, and the rights to pick swap with the Connecticut Sun. And the Connecticut Sun, they receive in this trade J.C. Sheldon. They also receive the 2025 number 8 draft pick as well. Okay, let's get into the actual analysis of this. So those are the details right there. Those are the details. Now here's the thing. If y'all don't know who J.C. Sheldon is, well, you kind of should. She is a player who, in my opinion, was a really good, point guard for Ohio, or the Ohio State, I should say. She was drafted in the 2024 draft with the 5th overall pick. That really was, Dallas's attempt to get a whole lot better on defense, right? We all know J.C. Sheldon is a really good defender, and Dallas ended up drafting her number 5 in 2024 in hopes to help to bolster the guard play and also heavily help them defensively. Now, this past year, Dallas had, I believe it was the second worst, one of the worst defenses in the WNBA in 2024, the Dallas Wings. And so they were like, okay, well, we need to make some changes. We need to make some changes and make some stuff happen. Yes, J.C. Sheldon is in my opinion, a really good talent in the WNBA, or will be a really good talent in the WNBA, just because of her defensive, focus. But, she is one of those casualties. Like, hey, you got to go. You got to go because we need to get a whole lot better on defense, not just a little bit better. And they will be getting a whole lot better. So the number 5 pick from 2024 is gone. And Connecticut will also receive the number 8 pick. Now, if y'all are like, the number 8 pick, guys, this is like the traveling sisterhood of the number 8 pick. That pick has been moved around quite a bit. Yesterday, we reported on a trade that involved that number 8 pick, where Dallas ended up receiving that number 8 pick in a 3-team trade. They just got the number 8 pick, and now they're shipping that 8 pick over to Connecticut to leverage that into DiJonai Carrington. Now, when we talk about trades, sometimes it's about making a trade in order to make another trade down the road. Now, in order for the Dallas Wings to get DiJonai Carrington, they needed to offer Connecticut more, right? Because Dallas was not the only team looking at DiJonai Carrington, right? They're not the only team. And Dallas needed to give them, a top 10 pick. And that's what they gave them. That's what they gave them in this one. And this is the top 10 pick that they actually received yesterday. And they actually received this from the Indiana Fever. So the Indiana Fever had the number 8 pick in the WNBA draft for 2025. They sent it packing to Dallas so they could get Sophie Cunningham. And now Dallas is taking that number 8 pick and sending it on over to Connecticut to leverage that into getting DiJonai Carrington. All right, so we just see various trades happen. This is the WNBA, guys. It's a wild time as we go into the actual signing period, where we just see massive trades, all to leverage up into ultimately the GM's vision, right? And for both Connecticut and Dallas, these are two teams that are looking for a brand new identity, right? They want a brand new identity because both teams have gotten rid of their head coaches. Or for Connecticut, Stephanie White left on her own and went to Indiana. For Dallas, we saw Latricia Trammell as the head coach for the last 2 seasons of the Dallas Wings play. She was a former assistant coach in the WNBA, went and became the head coach of the Dallas Wings. It just didn't work out with Dallas in terms of their success. We saw huge success in her first season with Dallas, and that was primarily because we saw Satou Sabally very healthy, and her and Arike Ogunbowale were killing it together. And last year, in 2024, Dallas took a huge step back. Primarily, a huge part of that due to injury, right? We saw Satou Sabally miss the entire first half of the year. She came back in the second half, but it just wasn't enough. Dallas had a horrible defense in the WNBA, one of the worst defenses in the W. And, they also had some defensive players as well, like Natasha Howard, big defensive player. Again, not as good as she was when she was the defensive player of the year, but even Natasha Howard had a bad year defensively. Like, it was just bad news bears for Dallas. And they were like, you know what? We need to hire a new head coach. Latricia Trammell, you are out of here. We're actually going to hire a GM. One of the things that you all may not know is that Dallas, they didn't have a GM. Dallas did not have a GM. They had Greg Bibb, who is the president of the Dallas Wings. He basically served as the GM for this team. He was the president and basically the GM. There was no official GM on the record for the Dallas Wings. Greg Bibb was like, you know what? We have to change that. We need to change that, and I need an actual GM that can really, really focus on getting the best players in the door. And they made the decision to hire Curt Miller. Curt Miller was the GM and head coach of the Connecticut Sun for years. He then moved over to take over the LA Sparks as their head coach. And he ended up mutually agreeing to part ways with the LA Sparks. And then a couple weeks later, he got the gig for the Dallas Wings as the Wings GM. So now, instead of being a head coach and GM, we see Curt Miller as just the GM for Dallas. Now, that's a new position that has just got filled. And then he was like, you know what? I need to hire a head coach. So what does he do? He hires a man that he has worked with quite a bit, someone who he's had as an assistant coach for years, and that was Chris Koklanis. Chris Koklanis was an assistant coach also with the USC Trojans, and so he ended up leaving the program as was their assistant coach there, was beloved by very many people in and out of USC. Also, he has a great reputation in the WNBA. He gets the head coaching nod for Dallas. Okay. And now Dallas is looking to revitalize their roster. This is a team that was terrible on defense. They also were a team that, yes, they can score at times, but they needed more consistency and backups, right? And so that's what happened. So we see lots of trades that Dallas has embarked on. Again, that massive trade that we just saw come through yesterday, and then we have a big trade today where Dallas gets better on defense by getting DiJonai Carrington. That's a huge W for this team. And also they get the number 12 pick as well. So they still do have a first round pick in there. So that is something awesome to note. So that is the big news, guys. DiJonai Carrington has been shipped off to the Dallas Wings. I'm sure this is a trade that she really enjoys. She's going to be, on the Dallas Wings with, surprise, surprise, NaLyssa Smith. I did not expect DiJonai Carrington to stay with the Connecticut Sun. There were just so many trades, so many things that have happened with the Dallas Wings already, with the Connecticut Sun already, that I just wasn't expecting her to be on this team. And it turns out that she will not be on this team. All right, now we do have a super chat. Thank you so much, Blink, for the super chat. Says, thank you for all you do, Q, much appreciated. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Guys, I love to, stay abreast of what's happening in women's basketball. And when stuff happens that's breaking news and I'm available to go live, I will go live. And one of the things that you all get on this channel is you don't just get the DiJonai Carrington to, Dallas and then rambles, right? You get DiJonai Carrington to Dallas. Here's the entire backstory of where Dallas has been the last couple of years. Here's how this helps at least Dallas's immediate future. And like, here's some of the stuff that you may not know. So if y'all appreciate the context that you all get on this channel, if y'all could make sure to hit that like button, that really does help the channel out a whole lot. Thank you so much, Cinder Mom on X. Okay, shout out to the Twitter folks who are rocking with us. As always, thanks for breaking it down for us in real time. We appreciate you. Well, I appreciate y'all. Salute to y'all. Salute to y'all. Now, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. If you all haven't realized, the entire starting lineup for Connecticut is gone. The entire starting lineup. All right? DiJonai Carrington, gone, now with Dallas. Brianna Jones, gone, signed as a free agent with the Atlanta Dream. Alyssa Thomas, their number one player, gone, traded to the Phoenix Mercury. Ty Harris, gone, initially traded to the Phoenix Mercury. Then yesterday we saw news that Ty Harris was getting moved to Dallas. So Ty Harris initially moved to Phoenix, now to Dallas. And we also have one more domino that still technically has not dropped, but will be dropping very soon. And that is DeWanna Bonner, who all reports indicate she is on her way out of Connecticut. Now, we do not have anything official. We do not have official word of where DeWanna Bonner is heading, but all signs indicate that she's out of there at Connecticut. All right, that's where all signs indicate. But again, we do not have official word, but I think it's safe enough. I think it's safe enough to say that she's getting out of there. All right, Mike says the Phoenix Sun. I mean they do have one player in Alyssa Thomas. For Phoenix, they had Ty Harris for a hot second. Maybe they get DeWanna Bonner. They do have Satou Sabally. That is something that is news that also recently came out via trade as well. So like the Phoenix Mercury are looking pretty fun. They're looking like a pretty fun roster. And guys, it's a wild time. It is a wild time. Now here's the thing, guys. I do want to give you all some additional context here about like what is left, what Connecticut started with and what is left, okay? But first, before we get into that, I do want to talk about these super chats. Thank you so much for these super chats. B Dizzle, thank you so much, says, I very much appreciate what you do. I'm heavy into women's basketball. Your breakdowns and info are priceless. Well, salute to you. Thank you so much for your support of this channel, guys. You all really make this channel work, and I really do appreciate your support. Now, guys, usually, if y'all know me, usually you know that I usually don't really post on Saturdays. That's usually my personal day where I'm like exhausted from the week, exhausted from like my 9 to 5 and then doing these videos. And I usually take a break on Saturdays. But this Saturday, I woke up and I was like, nah, I can't take a break today. I gotta be on and I have to make some videos because this is some wild news that we have seen. in terms of this massive trade with the Dallas Wings and the Connecticut Sun. All right, thank you so much to Heel Bucks for the super chat. Says, Quita, always bringing the news to us with her brilliant insights and analysis. We appreciate you. 2025 WNBA season gonna be rocking. It is going to be rocking. And I'm excited about it, guys. I am very, very much excited about it. Okay? Tom says, hey, Quita, what is the future of the Sun? This team has no identity. This team will probably be the worst team next season. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they're the worst team next season. Now, let's get into it. Let's get into the Connecticut Sun and what is ultimately going on there, right? So, as we all know, Connecticut was a really good team for a long time. They were consistently really, really good. They had Curt Miller as their head coach and GM. He left, again, remember, he left 2 seasons ago and went to the LA Sparks. And Connecticut needed to hire a new head coach, and they got in Stephanie White. Stephanie White became the head coach for the Connecticut Sun. And, she saw some really good success with them. They continued their dominance as a top 4 team in the WNBA. Again, as we all know, Stephanie White had a decision to make. She decided to leave Connecticut and go to the Chicago Sky as their head coach. And the Connecticut Sun needed to figure out what to do, right? They needed to figure out what to do, and they did. They ended up deciding to go international with their head coach. They decided to hire. I always mess up on the pronunciation of his first name. It is Rachid Meziane. Rachid Meziane was formerly the head coach of the Belgium national team. Like, he was the head coach of the Belgium national team. Has done a really good job with Team Belgium over the last several years in international play. He decides to take that head coaching role with the Connecticut Sun and then leaves Team Belgium. And now this team is going to rock out from here, right? They do have an international coach. They do have a new GM. Her name is Morgan Tuck, former WNBA player. So that's something to note. So they have a new GM in Morgan Tuck. They have a new head coach in Rachid Meziane. And they are trying to figure out a new identity. And because Connecticut does not have the greatest facilities and whatnot, and because they have a new head coach, the players wanted to peace out. And Morgan Tuck was like, you know what? Okay, you want to leave? I'm going to try my best to get as much as I possibly can from you leaving, right? I'm going to try to do the best I can in terms of trades and all that other stuff. D-Mac says UConn Tuck. Yeah, she did play for UConn. Yes. Yes, she did play for UConn. And also, guys, Morgan Tuck was a WNBA player. Morgan Tuck played for UConn during, I believe this was during the Breanna Stewart days. So that is something to note. All right. So Morgan Tuck is one of those rare players who have won 4 NCAA championships, right? She was, when y'all remember that Breanna Stewart is is basically the most decorated women's basketball athlete ever. And she won 4 championships at UConn, and Morgan Tuck was on the team for that. Okay. All right, let's continue on. Again, we are talking about the Connecticut Sun and how different they are now. Now, I do want to talk about where they were to enter the season or enter the offseason. So, this is where Connecticut was before all of the madness of this past week. So the Connecticut Sun, here's who they had on their roster. And then now this is courtesy of Her Hoop Stats. Shout out to Her Hoop Stats for being absolutely fantastic and giving us all the information that we need to be up to date on women's basketball. Okay. So again, this is courtesy of Her Hoop Stats, and let's look at what they had coming into this season. We had Marina Mabrey on contract, right? Marina Mabrey on contract. For some reason, this is looking a little bit light. I think it's hard for y'all to see this. Okay, here we go. All right, so Marina Mabrey was under contract, is under contract for 2025. We also saw Ty Harris under contract as well. Olivia Nelson-Adota, Caitlin Bickle. They cored Alyssa Thomas, and then as unrestricted free agents, we had DeWanna Bonner, Brianna Jones, Tiffany Mitchell, Astu Dufall, and DiJonai Carrington was a restricted free agent. Oh, actually, we got some super chats. Let me get to those, and we will continue on. 1 second. Thank you so much to the Lord Schaefer. This was a funny name. Says, thank you for all the coverage of the WNBA free agency. Been watching all the content. Is this the craziest WNBA free agency you've seen or covered? ? I don't think this is the craziest free agency I've seen. This is the craziest free agency I've covered. Because again, guys, I've only been doing this for going on 3 years now. And so, yes, of those 3 years, this is the craziest free agency I've covered. But no, I don't think this is the craziest free agency I've ever seen. I have to go back and refresh my memory about some of the other free agencies, because we've seen some crazy stuff in the WNBA. We've seen some crazy trades, surprise free agency signings. The most recent one that comes to my head is Candace Parker in 2021 deciding to sign with the Chicago Sky. That was a huge surprise. Nobody expected that. All right. So there's been a lot of surprises that have happened in the past. Now, what I'll probably do is I'll go back and just ponder on it a little bit and just remember all the other trades that have happened in the past. And I can maybe make a separate video to let you all know if this indeed is the craziest one. This is the craziest one I've covered in the last 3 years. However, I don't think this is probably the craziest period. It probably feels like it, though, because this is the most, I feel like this is, in general, the most amount of people who have ever paid attention to this before. And so, in that case, yeah. Arlita says, Anissa Morrow could be the number 8th pick. Possibly, yeah. Thank you so much for the super chat, Arlita. Thank you so much. All right. Now, going back to where this Connecticut Sun team stood, right? Again, you had Marina Mabrey, Ty Harris, Olivia Nelson-Adota, and Caitlin Bickle under contract. You also had Alyssa Thomas, who you cored, and then lots of free agents, okay? So, Marina Mabrey, as of right now, Marina Mabrey is still on the Connecticut Sun. Ty Harris, gone. Olivia Nelson-Adota is still there. Caitlin Bickle, still there. Alyssa Thomas, gone. DeWanna Bonner, likely gone. Brianna Jones, gone. Tiffany Mitchell, ? Astu Dufall, ? DiJonai Carrington, gone. So this is a team that barely has anybody on their roster. Barely has anybody. And it's just making me wonder, man. Marina Mabrey is kind of lonely. She is kind of lonely here, and I really wonder what in the world is Connecticut going to do. Are they going to have Marina Mabrey, stay on this team for the actual season, or are they going to try to figure out a trade? Because I don't know if she really wants to be there with everybody else gone. So that's a huge question mark, I would say. A couple of other things about the Connecticut Sun that you all need to know is, they do have a brand new head coach, and I see this team getting a whole lot more international. Also, I see this team not being good in 2025, but setting themselves up for success in 2026 and 2027. Now, I do anticipate that the majority of this roster, again, will be filled with international players because Rashid Mezian, he comes from overseas, right? Former head coach of the Belgium national team, which means we will probably see a good amount of Belgium players on this team, right? We will probably see a lot of European players on this Connecticut Sun roster. This will be in a lot of cases the international roster, at least from what I've seen, the various moves that they've made so far, I do think this is going to be pretty international. Also, one of the things we know is that they got some draft picks. And so we'll see ultimately what they're able to do on that front in terms of who they're able to pick up. Because again, they don't really have a roster, because you could put X on a lot of these players. Like right now, they're still technically on the sheet because stuff has to get signed and whatnot. And then probably in the next couple of days, we will see this board completely change with the actual news of who is currently on the team. But this is who was on the team as of a week and a half ago. All right, this was where the roster stood a week and a half ago. All right, now it is completely different for the Connecticut Sun. This is a very, very interesting roster. Very interesting roster. Again, the entire starting lineup, the entire starting lineup for the Connecticut Sun is gone. Thank you so much, Barbara, for becoming a channel member. I really do appreciate that. Salute to you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And again, guys, the breaking news of the day is that we saw a massive 2-team trade where DiJonai Carrington got sent. She got sent over to the Dallas Wings, and in return, the Dallas Wings ended up sending over JC Sheldon, who was the number 5 pick, or I believe she was number 5 pick in the WNBA draft in 2024. She has been shipped off to the Connecticut Sun. All right, guys, that is the news of the day. Yeah, fascinating stuff, guys. Very, very fascinating stuff. Yes, JC Sheldon was the 5th overall pick of 2024. She has been sent over to the Connecticut Sun. We also saw the Connecticut Sun get the number 8 pick in the draft, and that was originally the Indiana Fever's draft pick. They shipped it over to Dallas, and Dallas is now shipping it over to Connecticut. And for Dallas, they received DiJonai Carrington. They also received the 2025 number 12 pick. All right, lots of changes for this both the Dallas Wings and the Connecticut Sun. So again, we will see DiJonai Carrington reunite with NaLyssa Smith. They will be teammates. And there is still a huge question mark in terms of DeWanna Bonner. Where does DeWanna Bonner sign? We do also have some other news as well. Natasha Heidemann has re-signed with the Minnesota Lynx. We also have Letitia Ami here, who was waived by the Atlanta Dream. We also saw Zaya Cook waived from the LA Sparks. So 2 South Carolina Gamecocks have just been waived by their respective teams. We will ultimately see who picks them up from here. All right. So yeah, man, like this is a wild time. Wild time. Also, Michaela Onyenwere has agreed to re-sign with the Chicago Sky. Lots of changes, lots of trades. It's just gonna get wilder and wilder. Okay. This is absolutely wild. But that's what happens when your head coach is like, you know what, I want to leave for the Connecticut Sun. Hey, the whole team was like, okay, me too. I want to go. Me too. Let me get out of here. And one by one, the Connecticut Sun have crumbled. All right, thank you so much, Ron, for the super chat. Says, altogether, they traded Alyssa, Ty, DiJonai, the 2026 second-round pick swap for Allen, Cloud, JC, and the number 12 pick. Seems low for a MVP, runner-up, and 2 starters. Well, yes. But I think it's all to appease the players, right? To appease the players. They wanted to get out of there. And so Connecticut's like, you know what? You want to get out? Yeah, sure, you can get out. Now, again, in this trade, I think Dallas won the trade. Dallas won this trade. Yes. And Connecticut gets the raw end of the deal. But again, if players want to leave in the WNBA, in a lot of cases, the WNBA will just acquiesce and get you out of there. Well, at least try their best to. Bad Phil, thank you so much for the super chat. Really do appreciate your support of this channel. Now, again, guys, we do have some massive things that have happened. Now, I do wanna walk through real quick all the details that we know so far that have happened in this wild time. Because yeah, this has been insane. This is not insane. This has been kind of fun, kind of wild, all at the same time. And guys, this is just a primer for more stuff that we will see to come. This is just a primer. I hope y'all are buckled up because, again, as I've said before, buckle up, Buttercup. This is a fun time. If this is your first WNBA free agency, let me know in the chats. If this is your first WNBA free agency, let me know. Because it really does help me to know where you all are in your knowledge about the WNBA, in your knowledge about these teams and all that stuff, because it helps me determine how detailed I should go in giving backstories, all right? So let me know if this is your first WNBA free agency. Let me know, because again, that really does help me in terms of how detailed I go and how back I go with what I'm saying, okay? Because again, wild times, guys, wild times. Now, let's get into the various news that's happened in the various stages. So on January the 26th, we saw a 3-team trade that involved the Las Vegas Aces, the LA Sparks, and the Seattle Storm. We saw the Vegas Aces receive Jewell Loyd and the 13th pick in the 2025 draft. We saw the LA Sparks receive Kelsey Plum, the number 9th pick in the 2025 draft, and a second-round pick in the 2026 draft. For the Seattle Storm, they received Yueru and the 2nd pick in the 2025 draft. Again, as I said before, I thought this was a W for the Las Vegas Aces and the Seattle Storm. The LA Sparks, less of a W for them in this trade. Then on the January the 28th, we saw a 2-team trade between the Connecticut Sun and the Phoenix Mercury. For the Connecticut Sun, they received Natasha Cloud, Rebecca Allen, and the 12th pick in the 2025 draft. And for the Phoenix Mercury, they received Alyssa Thomas, who was cored by the Connecticut Sun, and they received Ty Harris. More on Ty Harris in just a sec. We also saw more stuff happen. We saw Brittany Griner agree to sign with the Atlanta Dream as a free agent, which was the shocker of the free agency period. We also saw Courtney Vandersloot, less of a shocker, not a shocker at all, because I told y'all that she was going to be signing with them well before she actually signed with them. Courtney Vandersloot agreed to return to the Chicago Sky as a free agent, signing a 1-year deal with the Chicago Sky. The place that she started her WNBA career with. All right. On January the 29th, we saw Kelsey Mitchell resign with the Indiana Fever. They cored her, and she agreed to agree. She agreed to the coring designation, so she is returning back to the Indiana Fever. For Brianna Jones, we got word that Brianna Jones was moving to Atlanta. And signing with the Atlanta Dream. And so this was 2 big gets for the Atlanta Dream. They ended up signing both Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones. For Natasha Howard, we saw yesterday the news that Natasha Howard was signing with the Indiana Fever, a place that she was drafted with several years ago. She ended up leaving. Now she is returning back to home with the Indiana Fever, and she's going to be a huge get. Big defensive get, big points scoring get for the Indiana Fever for next season. And we saw another massive trade happen yesterday where Phoenix ended up trading Phoenix, Dallas, and Indiana ended up having a massive 3-team trade where Phoenix received Satou Sabally, Kalani Brown, and Sevgi Uzun, and Dallas received Ty Harris, courtesy of Connecticut, and Phoenix. So remember, Ty Harris was on Connecticut last season. She got traded to the Phoenix Mercury. Now Phoenix ended up trading her to Dallas. So Ty Harris is on Dallas. Dallas also received the rights to Kiki Herbert Harrigan, a.k.a. Mad Kiki, If y'all are South Carolina fans from back in the day, y'all remember Mad Kiki. NaLyssa Smith from Baylor, and then from the Indiana Fever. And they also received the number 8th pick in the 2025 draft. And then for Indiana Fever, they received Sophie Cunningham and the number 19th pick in the 2025 draft. And then today we get word that there is a 2-team trade between the Connecticut Sun and the Dallas Wings. The Dallas Wings end up receiving DiJonai Carrington and the 12th pick in the 2025 draft. Also, the rights for a pick swap in the second round. We also see the Connecticut Sun receive J.C. Sheldon, who was the 5th pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, and the 8th pick in the 2025 draft. So the Connecticut Sun are going to get younger, and Dallas is going to get more experience, more defensive efficiency when it comes to DiJonai Carrington. All right, so that's the big news that has happened today. That is the big news. And guys, again, you better buckle up, Buttercup, because, stuff is still happening, right? We see the news that Letitia Ami here has been waived by the Atlanta Dream. That is the news there. We also got news that Zaya Cook was waived from the LA Sparks as well. We saw word that Michaela Onyenwere is re-signing with the Chicago Sky. Not a surprise at all on that front. And we just kind of continue to see what happens from here. This is just a wild, wild, wild time. Wild time. So yeah, guys, get prepared. It's going to be a whole lot more that happens from here. Now, guys, I will do my best to try to keep you all abreast of what is happening in the WNBA. I will go live as needed to give you all information. Also, I'll have some produced videos as well, just sort of recapping stuff. But again, guys, the news of the day is that massive 2-team trade. Now, there are teams that we're just still wondering what they're going to do, right? For example, the Washington Mystics. Mum's the word for the Washington Mystics. We've heard nothing. The New York Liberty. Mum's the word for them. We have heard nothing so far on that front. There's still some more pieces that still need to fall. Where does Dewana Bonner go? She is an unrestricted free agent. Where does Tina Charles go? She is an unrestricted free agent as well. Lots of question marks. Nneka Ogwumike, I forgot to say earlier, Nneka Ogwumike is heavily expected to return to the Seattle Storm next season. So lots of stuff has happened. Lots of stuff will be happening soon. And so, yeah, man, Dallas, I think Dallas is trying their best to look like a really good team for Paige Bueckers, right? Paige Bueckers is likely going to be the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft for 2025. There has been rumors, again, nothing official, but there has been rumors that she does not want to go to Dallas. And I think Kurt Miller is trying his best to create the best roster environment for Paige Bueckers if she decides to actually enter the WNBA draft. Because, again, she likely will be the number 1 pick. It is kind of wild stuff in the WNBA. But don't worry. If you subscribe to this channel, I will keep you all updated in terms of what is happening, guys. We have about 900 people in the chat on YouTube, but we only have 200 likes. If y'all could, please hit that like button. It really does help the channel out a whole lot. So again, hit that like button. Thank you. Chene did confirm that Nneka is returning back to the Seattle Storm yesterday. All right, let's get to y'all super chats. I'm not sure if I read this earlier, but thank you so much, Bad Phil, for the super chat. Thank you to Orest for the super chat. Says, thanks for all the great WNBA coverage. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, and you had another super chat says, do more games with Mama. Well, guys, I'm always down for that. Mama is a busy person. She does have her own life. And so when we can, we will. But until Mama is able to hop on the channel again, you'll be stuck with me. So hopefully it's not too bad just being stuck with me for a bit. But yeah, as Mama's schedule permits, she will hop on the channel. She watches the WNBA, she watches Unrivaled, she watches women's college basketball. It's just that timing just doesn't always work out because, again, she does have her own life and can't always just hop on the channel. But she is abreast of what's happening, and as schedules allow, she will be on the channel more. All right, thank you so much, Gabriella, for the super chat. Says, Q, thank you. The Sun used to be a favorite. Now what? Now what? It's rebuilding mode. And the thing I like about the Connecticut Sun is it feels like they're fully embracing this rebuild. Here's the deal, guys. There are some times where teams lose their best players, or their best players want to go when they're forced to have a trade, and GMs make the decision saying, you know what, we're gonna make some bad deals to bring in a veteran that can keep us mediocre for a little while longer. But it seems like Connecticut is like, you know what, we are fully embracing this rebuild, and we're gonna have some picks, and we are going to rock out that way, right? We don't have a starting five from last year, right? All we have really is Marina Mabry and Olivia Nelson-Adota. That's who we got on this roster. And we got some draft picks, and we got an international coach. We are looking to go that route, and we are in full rebuild mode. If the Connecticut Sun are bad in 2025, it's not a big deal. And here's why. Because they're in full rebuild mode, which means they're going to be fine with not being good. They're going to be fine with mediocrity, because that means that they will be a lottery pick for the 2026 draft. 2026 draft is going to be a wild draft because there are some players that are in that could be in the 2025 draft that may opt to stay in college for another year, right? You have Lauren Betts, who's likely to stay another year. She's going to be coming out in 2026, likely. Again, her sister, if y'all don't know, Lauren Betts' sister is going to be on the UCLA Bruins next year, and I believe that Lauren Betts is going to want to play with her sister, so she's not going to opt for the 2025 draft. There's a chance that Flau'jae Johnson does not opt for the 2025 draft. She will be eligible. It's a question of will she opt for it or not. If she doesn't, she will be in there for the 2026 draft. Paige Beckers is a player who technically can stay for another year. Like, she doesn't have to enter the draft if she doesn't want to. And so if she stays another year, that'll be 2026 lottery pick, right? You have Olivia Miles, who is eligible to enter the draft in 2025, but she could stay another year as well. That's someone that you can that could possibly be a lottery pick for 2026. There's so many possibilities of what top talents may be available in 2026, and it makes you wonder. Okay, well, what do Connecticut? They're trying to make sure they're in the best possible situation of, yes, even if they're bad, who cares? They'll be able to take advantage and possibly have a chance at a number one pick for 2026. And so that's why, for me, yes, Connecticut, they lost in this free agency battle. They lost. However, it's one of those instances where they lose the battle, but ultimately they're trying to win the war, which they're trying to actually win, years down the line. They're not looking to be mediocre next year by trying to get some huge vets and giving away further draft picks for the future. No, they're looking to get draft picks for now, trying to get better that way. And if they're not good, well, they got draft picks for next year. So I do think that is kind of the strategy, because again, the Sun, they don't have the most attractive landscape for veterans, right? You look at the practice facility situation, right? So that's the thing. Gloop, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, I've been loving your content over the past few months. Looking forward to your coverage this WNBA season. Well, salute to you. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Yeah, you can expect a whole lot more coverage of women's basketball, of the college game, of Unrivaled, of the WNBA, of Athletes Unlimited. So much stuff that is happening. And I'll try my best to keep you all covered in what's happening. Now, I can't make videos all the time because I have a job and I have stuff like commitments and whatnot that I have to do. However, I will try my best to keep you all as up to date as possible when time allows. I will go live. I will make various videos just letting you all know, just not the X's and O's of like what's happening, but also like why stuff is happening, the backstory of what's happening, and giving you all ultimately context, because you can just spout out random facts. You can spout out random news that happens. But one of the things that I really do see as my personal advantage on this channel is because I've literally been watching for forever. So like there is just a lot of random stories and a random history that I just know and I can bring you all. So if y'all appreciate not just the breaking news, but if you appreciate context and just good content, which I hope this is. I hope this is good content. I don't know. Y'all tell me, but I hope this is good content. But yeah, I appreciate y'all support. Thank you so much. Douglas for the super chat says, how many international players allowed per team? 12. There are a maximum of 12 roster spots on each team, and teams are able to have 12 international players. Now this is different than in Europe and in Asia, right? In Europe and in Asia, in some leagues, there are maximums on the foreign players that can be in those teams, right? Like over in China, I believe they can have a max of 3 foreign players per team. That's not something that happens in the WNBA. In the WNBA, just like the NBA, it is intended to be a global league, which means it doesn't matter who you are. American, international, it does not matter. If you are good enough to make the team, you will be on the team. There is no quotas. There is nothing like that. Thank you so much, Brian, for the super chat. I really do appreciate your support. Now, guys, I asked you all earlier how, like, if y'all were newer to, if this was your first, if this was your first endeavor in the WNBA free agency, and I've seen quite a few people. I've seen quite a few people say that yes, this is your first free agency, and so thank you for giving me that context, and I will try my best to keep that in mind. So Tree Lim said first. Let's see. Felipe says I started to follow the W last year because of Camilla. Okay, so this is your first one as well. Whoa. Iona says watching from Romania. By the way, your coverage is awesome. From Romania? Wow. That is insane. Thank you so much. Wow. Kim says, yes, this is my first free agency. Okay, yeah. I like it. Thank y'all for letting me know this information. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. And also, guys, in these live streams and videos and whatnot, if y'all feel like I'm like way too in the weeds, and you're like, actually, I don't even care. Why are you spending all this time talking about this, like the old stuff and how stuff built to where we are now? Like, if y'all are not interested in that, let me know. Again, let me know. This is a responsive channel. Of course, I make content that I enjoy. I do this because I love it, but also I want this to be helpful for you all. So if stuff would be helpful, let me know. If stuff is not helpful, let me know, because that helps me a whole lot. Aida says also my first free agency. Okay. All right. Okay, let's see what else you all have to say. Barbara says, this is my first free agency. Love your backstories. Okay. That is helpful to know. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Calix is asking, can you talk about how good it is, how good the rest of the Fever bench is? Did not see them play enough to see their abilities, question mark. That feels like a very, very long video, and a video that I would actually like to have stats at the ready. Like, of course, I can answer your question now, but like it doesn't, like I want to also have stats and like video to back up what I'm saying. So how about this? I'll just make a separate video about that. That's a long, like we can go player by player, right? From Grace Berger to Victoria Saxton to, you know, to Damaris Dantas. We can go down the line of the players on the Indiana Fever bench. But I feel like that's a longer video, and one that I want to have stuff at the ready before I like start actually talking, because I don't want to do all those and pauses and all that stuff. So I'll do a separate video about that. Separate video. Mike says, Beckers and Carrington are pretty versatile. I could see them and Enrique starting together. Yeah. I mean, I think that could be pretty fun. Now, again, that just depends on if Paige Beckers ends up going into the draft in 2025. It just depends. Lilac says they should bring back Brenna Maxwell. Yeah, so Brenna Maxwell was drafted by the Chicago Sky. She did get hurt, and the Chicago Sky ended up waiving her. She's been playing overseas. I believe she just left her overseas team not too long ago. And so there's conversations about where does she go? What happens to Brenna Maxwell? Ultimately, where, like, does she return back to the Chicago Sky? This is a different Chicago Sky team. She's someone who can shoot threes. She can shoot threes 4 days, right? And so I'm interested. I'm interested to see ultimately what happens. I am interested to see. But yeah, guys, that's the news. That is the news. We got some super chats. Thank y'all so much for the super chats. Let's see. Thank you, Crank That, for the super chat. Says, no free agents will want to go to Connecticut, especially with sharing a facility with yoga classes. At what point will they be forced to build a facility? Well, I believe it's going to be when the new CBA comes into effect. So the players opted out of the CBA, which is the collective bargaining agreement that players have with the league. They've opted out, and the CBA, the current CBA, is going to be up at the end of the 2025 season. And I believe the new CBA will have stuff in there that talks about the minimums that teams have to have, the minimum facilities, the minimum amenities that teams have to have. I do believe that's going to be in there. And at that point is when Connecticut will be forced to either upgrade or sell. Upgrade or sell. I mean, the Boston Celtics want the Connecticut Sun. And so if the Mohegan Tribe, if they sell, they're likely going to sell to Boston, the Boston Celtics, and like it could be, you know, it could be the Boston Sun. Nah, they've probably changed the name to something else. But anyway, that's when I think they'll be forced to, is when the new CBA comes into effect. Thank you so much, Ms. Batman. Ms. Batman for the super chat. Says content is awesome, plus context is very appreciated. Well, thank you for the feedback. Really do appreciate that. All right. Thank you so much, Kay, for the super chat. Says, you think the new Belgium coach made it clear that he's bringing players with him? He may be okay with losing these players. I mean, I think, and again, I'm gonna do a separate video on Rashid Mezion. I'm going to do a separate video on him and Morgan Tuck and ultimately what they're trying to do in Connecticut. I think they are fine with these losses. Knowing that they're going to get some international players on their roster. Darcel, thank you so much for the super chat, says, have we heard anything about Mayberry yet? I mean, Mayberry's been cooking. Mayberry's been hanging out at Unrivaled. I saw a fan video of her yesterday, just like walking around at Unrivaled. Hey, man, you know, she's getting paid a lot of money. Yeah, all of her teammates are gone. Almost all of her teammates are gone. But yeah, we haven't heard her make a statement, but we've seen her around. Like, she's been cooking. She's been enjoying making macaroni and cheese and just making a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, man, that's been what's happening. That has been what's happening. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to really say, guys. But I do thank y'all so much for joining me. Alex says Marina is busy poisoning her teammates and Unrivaled. I thought somebody said her mac and cheese was really good. Like, you know, Marina Mayberry's been having fun being a chef. Guys, the videos that they've been posting around about on Unrivaled has been really fun. Like the various videos. I just love to just see these players just having a ball. Yeah, sure, they're gonna be balling out on the court, but like off the court, they're having fun. You know, they're cooking, they're dancing. You know, DiJonai is running around asking people silly questions. She I believe it was her. She made a video about how do you say AUNT. And there was a contingent of people that was saying aunt, and there was another contingent of people that was saying aunt. So yeah, anyway, they've been having a blast. They've been having a blast on Unrivaled. Wilmer, thanks so much for the super chat, says the Fever are going to make another big move. They have the cap space, which is why it is so important to build through the draft. The reason why? Aaliyah Boston's on a rookie deal. Caitlin Clark is on a rookie deal. Two of your best players are on very, very cheap contracts, which means you have the money to pay for other supplemental pieces, which is why I always say it is important to build through the draft, not just build through free agency, because free agency will only get you so far, because if you get some really good vets, they come with really good vet salaries. And when you got some of your best players on rookie deals, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool for you. That is pretty cool for you. All right, guys, that is the news. That is the stream. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Thank you. This is a Saturday morning, and y'all are rocking with me, and I really do appreciate y'all so much. I may be back for some videos later today to help bring a little bit more context to like what is happening in the WNBA. But this is a wild time. This is wild, and I'm happy that you all are here for the ride. Yeah, Lexi Hull was on a rookie deal as well. Yeah. TJ, thank you so much for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. Salute to you, man. Salute. But anyway, yeah, man, this is wild. But again, as news comes through, I will try my best to get on it as quickly as possible. You know, let y'all know what's happening. Thank you to Natik for the super chat. Says can Dallas trade for Mayberry with another trade? Yeah, I mean Dallas can do any trades they want. Yeah, they can trade for Marina. I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly they would gain by trading for Marina, because if you did, you'd have to give up some more picks, and I wouldn't suggest that. If I'm Dallas, I'm running with the roster I have. I'm going to sign some free agents, and I'm going to hope that Paige enters the draft. That's what I would do if I'm Dallas. I wouldn't make any more. I wouldn't make any more trades. All right. Okay. Well, that is the news, guys. Again, I thank you so much for rocking with me. This has been a wild ride. And it's been fun. Yeah, man. This is it's crazy. Absolutely insane in the membrane moves. All right. Well, I'll see you in the next one. Hit that like, hit that subscribe to the channel. Uh-oh. I stayed on long enough. We got another super chat. Oh, this one's a super sticker. Thank you so much to Shay for the super sticker. It is a Shiba dog shaking his hips, saying thank you. Well, I thank you. Salute to you for being awesome. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll have commentary about the Chicago Sky as well. Whew. Lots of stuff happening. And yeah, I'll see y'all soon. Shout out to the 2 people who disliked this video. It's engagement. It all helps. It all helps. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one. I'm rambling. Bye-bye.